Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 14th November, Wednesday today. And dear friends, we have many important articles to go through. The first one is Four Corners. This one is about Quad. We are going to go through this one first, but before that I would like to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses which are available for various different exams, as you can see on your screen. To find out more about it, do check out StudyIQ.com. If you have any question or queries regarding it, you can feel free and give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. Now this Four Corners is about Quad or quadrilateral. Now this quadrilateral or Quad is about this four democracies, right, coming together. And these four democracies are, of course, India, then you have Japan, Australia and USA. These are the four countries. They form this group called Quad. Now the thing is, some common things, right? The first one, as we have discussed, all four of them are democracies, and the other thing is their main focus, right, is this Quad's main focus is Indo-Pacific region. Now this is not the first time that we are discussing Indo-Pacific region on this platform. In the past Hindu current affairs analysis, just a few days ago, we have talked about it. So I'm sure most of you are regular students and you know exactly what Indo-Pacific means, right? We are talking about this border starting from this region here all the way to here, right? This region, this is Indo, that means Indian Ocean as well as Pacific Ocean region here. Now see, we have to understand this thing. When I say we, I mean to say as a country India, we have to understand this thing, that Indo-Pacific is not what we understand, right? When I say let me break it down for you guys. See, USA or Mr. Trump, he, as per Mr. Trump and as per his statements, right, judging from his statement, we can say that for USA, the most important country in Indo-Pacific is Vietnam. That's what they have said. They have also said, or Mr. Trump has said this thing specifically, that for USA, when it comes to Indo-Pacific, ASEAN nations are at the very core of Indo-Pacific. And they have also said, USA has also said this thing, that for them, India is one of the most important country as far as Indo-Pacific region is concerned. So still we can say that it's not just, you know, from USA's perspective, India is not the only country that matters in Indo-Pacific region. Now if we talk about Japan, right, then Japan will be, you know, too much interested in, or it would be giving more emphasis to Pacific region, and second priority will be, of course, Indian Ocean region. And when it comes to Australia, you know, it's one portion, this portion of Australia is sharing its border with Pacific, and this one is sharing its border with in Indian Ocean. So it could be for both, right? And when it comes to India, 90% of our trade is passing through Indian Ocean region. So Indian Ocean is number one priority for us, and then comes Pacific region. So here you can see that within one group as well, we can find that we are not you know, after just one thing. There are various different interests of various different countries who are part of this Quad here. One common thing that we have is this South China Sea portion, right? This one here, that is the common thing that we are after when it comes to this Quad group. Now the four countries are expected to discuss. The reason why we say that they are expected to discuss is because they are going to meet in Singapore this Wednesday. That means today they are going to interact with each other, and they are going to talk about, or it is you know, projected that they will talk about infrastructure projects. They will you know, talk about humanitarian disaster response mechanisms and how they can work together, and they can help each other and they can help other countries. So these are some of the things that they can discuss in today's meeting. The other thing is, remember when our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Japan, at that point of time he talked about this thing, that means both these countries, right? When I say he, I'm talking about both the leaders, right? Both India and Japan. They talked about this bridges and roads construction or infrastructure construction in Bangladesh with the help of this Indo-Japan partnership. They talked about Sri Lanka's LNG facility. They talked about reconstruction projects in Myanmar's Rakhine province. Rakhine is famous for this Rohingya people. So here you can see when it comes to South Asian region, right? Japan is playing a very important role as far as this infrastructure and development projects are concerned. Now, the other thing that I would like to add here is that Australia is a bit curious, and Australia is ready to fund $2 billion, right? Which is not, of course, a small sum that we are talking about, right? $2 billion worth of project, particularly for infrastructure, both maritime as well as military infrastructure in Pacific region. Under this Quad, Australia is ready to fund these projects. The other thing is this meeting is going to take place on the sidelines of East Asia Summit, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Summit, and ASEAN India Informal Summit. So there are chances that we are going to find some common things that will be in line with Quad, and there could be a few things that would be not in line with Quad, or maybe a bit opposite of what Quad is trying to achieve here. So it's part and parcel of this sort of various meetings that are going to take place. Now let me throw some light on the history of Quad. Now don't take Quad as a very successful or a very new thing. Basically it took place, I think it was in 2006, but finally it was in 2007 when the grouping was first formed following cooperation after this 2004 tsunami. And it was been said earlier on as well, before 2007. I think it was 2006 when it was said that we need to have this sort of setup, and then all these four countries for the first time came together in 2007. Like-minded democracies, you can also say. But this so-called like-minded democracies are not that much like-minded, or they are not on this. They are not on a particular same page when it comes to reality, because at that point of time as well they were a bit concerned about growing China, or this dragon. And later on what we find is that they started having individual relationship. They started focusing on building relationship with China. So every one of us, right, all four. So it's not that this particular group is to destroy China, but it is, you can say, indirectly trying to put some weight on China. It is trying to work as a, you can say, speed breaker, right? That can reduce the speed of China as far as its expansionist theory or this expansionist behavior is concerned. One more thing, India is not happy with Australia joining this Malabar exercise. Malabar exercise is a military exercise that is going on between these three countries of this Quad. Apart from this Australia, you have USA, Japan and India. These three countries have been practicing this Malabar exercise for a long time now, and Australia is it fancies joining this Quad. But one of the reason why India is not happy with this is because we don't want this Australia, Japan as well as USA, we don't want them to have a sort of permanent ticket for membership in this region. The reason is that see, when it comes to international relations, right, if we go back some 10, 12, 15 years ago, we find that relationship between USA and India were not at all good. Right, they were in a very bad shape, but now things are looking all right, particularly in this era of Barack Obama. We can safely say that the relation was at its peak. So international relations, international politics or geopolitics, you never know. Today you are friends, tomorrow you could be enemies. So we cannot take this risk of giving a sort of permanent entry to this Australia here, and this is one of the main reason why we are not up for militarization of this code. We are also not up for ministerial or prime ministerial sort of thing, or making it more. We have just kept it on more, I would say, bureaucratic or official arena, rather than making it more political collaboration. So that's everything about this quad, and now let's move on to another item. This is changing trends. It's about demand and supply. It's about this Brent crude oil. Now Saudi Arabia signaled that it is not comfortable with falling prices, and it said that it is going to reduce, it is going to cut down 1 million barrels a day. Now, before we talk about this thing, let me throw some light on this demand and supply thing, right? How it works. So, say for example, we have this OPEC here. Sorry, I don't have my pen today with me, so my handwriting is not going to be that good. So, please bear with me. So, we have this OPEC group here, right? Now, this OPEC is a group that decides the price, as well as I would say the quantity of this Brent crude oil. Now the thing is, it behaves like a cartel. Of course, the first thing that OPEC wants is, or it looks after, is its own back. Whether OPEC is, or OPEC nations are doing very well, or if they are making money out of it or not. So that is given, of course, number one priority. Now they do go through other items as well. They're like what's global demand and other things. Now you can understand one more thing, right? Just imagine that if you have a sort of factory, right? Any sort of factory, you can take any factory you like. So when you set up your factory, you have a few machines, and you have your office, and you have your people working in various different departments. Now if you get, say for example, on regular basis you are getting orders of 100 saris. Let's say you have a sari factory, so you get orders every day. You are producing 100 saris, and at the end of the day you're selling all those saris as well. Now if you get, if your average production goes up, if your saris are a big hit, and if now you have to produce 300 saris a day, so of course you are going to get some more new machineries, and you are going to get new people to work for you, isn't it, to match up this demand. So you'll try to match up this demand with your increased supply. Now once you have this 300 capacity, 300 sari per day capacity, and after, for whatever reason, if global economy, or your state level economy, or national level economy is not doing that well, if there is a sort of recession scenario, then you have to pay for, if you have took a loan for your machinery, or for your extra, whatever your factory setup is, like your land or your electricity, and some things are going to be there, even if your production is 100 sari, or 300, or 500, or 1000. So you have to reach at least a break even point where you don't make any loss, or you don't make any profit. That is again a safe thing. If your economy is, or if you are in a recession, right, if you are struggling in a recession economy, then at least you are looking for, the first thing would be break even point. Of course profit is something that you are after, but break even is not bad as well. At least you can survive, at least you can keep your neck out of water, and then you have then you'll be looking for profits, isn't it? So same thing goes here. If the supply is oil is a thing that is in demand throughout the world, but this demand can go up and down, and supply as well, it can go up and down. Now you cannot bring down your supply. There is a sort of threshold, or there is a limit below which you cannot take your supply, because then you are going to make losses. You have to pay salary to your people, you have to, it takes huge amount of money to locate these oil wells and things, and then you have to recover all those money, then you have to recover so many other expenses. So I hope you have this basic understanding about business now, right? So Saudi Arabia has signaled that it is going to cut down. So at present we can say that the reason why it wants to cut down is because if the supply is controlled, if there is a drop in supply, then you have this static demand. So if there is less supply, then it can kick. It can create this sentiment that then that the production is going down, so the price will go up. It was $70 a barrel last Friday, and because of this reaction that came from Saudi Arabia. On Monday it was up by $2, so it was at $72 per barrel. Back in October it was $85 per barrel, and at present it is 20% less from what it used to be in October 2018's peak time. Now, Saudi Arabia is one of the strongest country in this OPEC. It is one of the biggest producer as well, as far as this OPEC is concerned. And as you can understand, it's a cartel, as I told you, right? You have to understand the meaning of the cartel, that it looks after its own back first. So that's the thing, and the reason why you can read here that just a couple of months ago, Saudi Arabia said that it is going to pump more oil out. Because it was saying that it was a bit afraid about this sanctions, and when sanctions are applied on Iran, naturally Iran won't be able to sell its oil to various different parts, so there will be a sort of shortage of oil in the market. So this supply can be matched by extra production. This was decided by OPEC nations, but now in a month or so we find that Saudi Arabia is changing its decision. Now they are going to meet on the first week of December, and they are going to talk about this 2019 average price. USA is now not dependent on this Saudi Arabia anymore because of this shale technology that they have got. And Mr. Trump, he tweeted saying that if oil production is reduced by Saudi or OPEC countries, then it will increase output of shale. So that's a bit of interesting, you can say, because not all countries who are producing oil are part of this OPEC group. USA is not part of this OPEC, so it has decided that it is going to increase production. So it's going to bring some sort of problem for Saudi Arabia as far as economy is concerned. So that's basically everything. And Russia as well. Yes, Russia has also said that it is not giving any sort of commitment that there will be a reduction or significant production cut. It is going to stick with its own plan. So that's it, right? I hope things are clear to you as far as this demand and supply and how it works sort of thing is concerned. Now, a reality check on cooperative federalism. It's not that difficult, but there is a little bit of confusion here. When I say confusion, it's not from our side, it's with the law. Now, this article has got some sort of factual as well as GK information. Right. So between 1947 to 77, in this 30 years time, what we find is that for 44, various different instances are there. 44 instances where we find president's rule was exercised. In between 1977 to 1996, it was 59 times. And in Indira Gandhi's reign, at that point of time, cabinet resorted to the power an estimated 50 times in her 14 years long career or reign as a prime minister. So the fact that it includes 15 instances between 1980 and 84 after the Supreme Court held federalism a basic feature of constitution is quite telling. Now, cooperative federalism, we have heard about this thing, we have talked about this thing, and cooperative federalism is basically you have the center and state, or one center and multiple states set up, just like our country. But you have this cooperative, both the center as well as states, they are working together as a team rather than trying to flex muscles or to show who is more powerful. So that's what cooperative federalism is all about. It's like a team, it's like a new team. Earlier on, teams used to be that you have a boss and you have some subordinates, but now team is more about, you have a leader, who is the leader, who is the center, but that center will not behave like a center. That center will in fact work like a glue that will stick everyone together. So from 1991 to 2006, there have been 32 instances of the exercise, and here we can see there is a reduction. 32 is not that big figure. And one of the reason is because of this S.R. Bomai 1994's case, S.R. Bomai, in which it was clarified that if you have any confusion regarding chief minister, if you have any confusion regarding who is having majority and who should be the person who will be next chief minister, then it is your floor, right? Your floor test is the ultimate test that you have to do. So S.R. Bomai case, the reason why S.R. Bomai is important is because of this presidential rule was applied on those states where there was this confusion. But when you have this floor test is the ultimate decider, then you know exactly that things will stay within the state. So in this context, S.R. Bomai is a very important state. Now we have one more. You can say this presidential rule is about politics. Then we have on the financial side, we find that government, one more political example, government of NCT, that is Delhi, and Union of India. So you can say not legislature, but this lieutenant governor, right? Lieutenant governor and chief minister, they were against each other, and this was going on for a very long period of time now. So finally Supreme Court said that lieutenant governor should listen to, when it comes to Council of Minister, right? Lieutenant governor cannot just ignore the advice of Council of Minister. So here we can see that Supreme Court has gently tilted the balance of executive power in favor of Government of National Capital Territory. Now, we're talking about taxation or financial thing, right? Taxation powers are another contentious issues, because the thing is, we have this GST, right? And under GST, states have foregone their octroi, entry tax, luxury, then entertainment tax, etc. Now they have to go with GST. But they have powers, states have powers to levy taxes through panchayats and municipalities. So this is something that is with states. The other thing is we have this Article 269A1, the GST Council, and not the FC, that is Finance Commission. Right, so GST Council has the power to make recommendations in relations or in relation to sharing of taxes from interstate trade. This is important since states have a vote in the GST Council. But when we go through Article 271A and 272, it provides that taxes levied under GST laws will be shared in the manner prescribed in Article 270 Article 2, which takes us to Finance Commission and not the GST Council. So here you can see on one side you are saying this, and on the other side you are saying this. So a little bit of confusion and issues are here. States don't merely seek parity, right, with central government. They are also seeking parity with other states too, and with central government. So everyone wants to be to see, or when I say everyone, I'm talking about every state would like to see itself as an independent as well as equal partner of central government as well as with other states. So we have the Sarkaria and Panchi commissions on this thing. So recommendations of this FC are placed before Parliament. So that's a bit of problem here. States cannot say anything about it, right? If FC is saying something or Finance Commission is recommending something, then states, they cannot say anything on these recommendations. And if centre refuses, now the thing is, when it comes to GST Council, the problem is, when centre refuses to agree on something that is said by one particular state, then that state has no option at all. It has it can just litigate in the Supreme Court, and it's going to take time and energy. So in near future we can see that state government can come out with some sort of solutions for this issue, this confusion that we have with Finance Commission and GST Council, and particularly tax side. Now we have this Sri Lanka's national crisis for what it is. It's basically a timeline. You know exactly what's going on in Sri Lanka. We used to have this Rajapaksa. He was a bit more authoritarian. He was pro-China, and he tried to remove this threshold limit that you cannot become a president for more than 2 times. And then we saw this revolution, and then came this Maitripala Sirisena and Vikramasinghe in coalition, but they were not happy with each other, and finally we saw this breakup of these two parties, these two partner parties. And then in last 15 days we have seen that Maitripala Sirisena declared this Rajapaksa as a new prime minister. This was not accepted by speaker, so finally Supreme Court on Tuesday suspended the dissolution of parliament until December 7, and same thing goes for this test as well. So it's very easy. Pakistan is likely to continue its state of stable instability. This is an article, this is basically an interview of a historian from Pakistan, and we are going to quickly go through it. The thing with Pakistan is that Pakistan is often called a security state, right? A state or a country or army has a country rather than a country having an army. So that's the situation, army having a country. That's what Pakistan is all about. Now the government of Pakistan is not that active, or it's not that strong, because if you go through its behavior, right, it has multiple times it has promised big things, but when it comes to delivery, it has not been delivered. Like, I'll give you one example of this one. Isa or Asia Bibi, right? When it comes to this Asia Bibi, this Pakistan Prime Minister said that he's not going to go soft, or he's not going to bow down in front of extremists. But when these extremists were a bit against this Isa Bibi at that point of time, this Imran Khan government, they signed an agreement with this extremist group. So they have to, what they can do is they can change this blasphemy law, because it has targeted many people in the past. It has targeted this Asia Bibi, and there are many other cases, right? So there is a sort of repairment or required as far as this blasphemy law is concerned. Now the thing with Pakistan, and one of the main reason why Pakistan's army is having this much power, is because it has always used India card. It has always said that India is next to us, and if we don't protect ourselves from India, then we are going to be in a big we will be in a big trouble. So it has always used this card of India, threat coming from India, and that's why army in Pakistan, they have this extra power. So that's everything. Moving on to news items. Supreme Court refuses to stay Sabrimala ruling. Sri Lanka court stays dissolution, snap elections, and government crop insurance scheme losing steam, because 84 lakh farmers have decided to step out of this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and 68 or nearly 70 lakh farmers are from Bharatiya Janata Party ruled states, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, you have Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. The crop insurance has not been that good. That's what RTI indicates. And now government asks Twitter to help trace or track this account. Those accounts are national threat for our country. And new index to check ease of doing agribusiness could be out soon. This is a plan of central government. You have some vocabs on your screen, and I have two questions. First one is this one, general knowledge quiz, and the second one is research topic. Can you give me the name of this the flag, and why the people are here, right, in front of a very famous building? Why people are here? So do go through this particular topic, and do study it or understand it very well. It's very important. That's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Jai Hind.